Today's episode is going to be a quick lesson on normal fabric. You put the pretty sides together, or the right sides together. So this is the pretty side. When you're sewing a seam, you sew the nice side, long sides. So you can see this is the back of the fabric, this is the back of the fabric, and then you sew right on about a 1/4 inch, usually in quilting. And then when you open it up, your seam is now on the back and your pretty fabric is nicely joined on the front. However, with a French seam, we set that method aside, and I just grabbed 2 scrap fabrics that I had in my stash, in my scrap box, and we're going to sew a practice French seam on these. Now I'm not even going to clean up the edges. I'm quick and dirty here, just to put these together. So I'm going to put the fabric together like this. Now, like I said before, normally we put the right sides together, and then we sew on that raw edge. However, we don't do that. With the French seam, we flip it around. We put the wrong sides together outward. And you can clean that up if you want. You can take a rotary blade and a straight edge and clean that up. But because I'm doing a French seam and it's not super frayed, I'm just going to leave it just as it is. And then I'm just going to do I'm going to do an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance here. You could probably give yourself some more room. Give seam allowance. But I have a leader in here, and I'm only going to do about an 1/8 of an inch seam right here, straight down. Okay. And now what you have is the seam on the outside here, and the nice side on the inside. But what you want to do is press this over. Press this to one side. So I'm just going to take a hot iron. I'm going to press it real quick. Off camera there. And then what you do here is you fold this over so that the seam catches on the inside. So maybe you can see that. So the seam, if I cut off this thread, the seam is now enclosed in the inside there, and then the outside you catch that inner seam. So let's just sew about a 1/4 inch this time. So I'm going to put this edge of the fabric along the straight edge, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch in and catch all this seam inside the fabric sandwich, or a little fabric burrito. It's basically what you're making is a little fabric burrito. Okay, now can you see that thread? So I enclosed, I hope you can see that. I hope it's sharp enough. You can see that. You can see that threading, that stitching, right? And then, so these are the backs of the fabric, and then when you open it up, now you have perfectly stitched seam, and then this fabric is enclosed. Your seam is enclosed, and it looks pretty. There's no raw edges. Nothing is going to fray. So it's great for when you're making clothing or something where you don't want to see a seam or the fabric should not fray. I'm going to press this real quick and get a nice flat edge. And that is how you sew a French seam, quick and dirty. I really didn't give you any measurements, but you just want to be able to enclose that raw edge on the inside of the fabric. And now you have a nicely sewn piece of fabric. That is how you do a quick and dirty French seam. Now, to put it in practicality, I am going to make like a little doll pillowcase. It's not really a doll pillowcase, but what I found in my stash, in my crumbs, is this leftover baby fabric. It's flannel. It's really soft baby flannel. And so I'm going to make a French seam for like a little doll pillowcase. And these edges are raw. Like you can see, these edges are, you know, super raw here. So if you wanted to, you can clean that up. You can cut those off. You can straighten up the edge, which is probably the best thing to do. But I'm just going to do, again, this quick and dirty. So remember, we put the wrong sides together. We put the wrong sides together and the right sides out. And then I'm just going to sew straight down. All right. And some of it didn't even catch in there. So what I really should do, you know what, guys? I'm going to take the time to straight edge rotary cut that. But I'm going to do it on this side because this is more straight. So let's do this again. Okay, now when you open this up, because I kind of made a sock or a tube here, you're going to turn it inside out. Poke out the corner. Now I'm going to press this. So now it's pressed. I'm going to make sure that corner is really pressed out. Oop. Okay. And then sew another 1/4 inch right down the side here. Making sure you encapsulate that fabric underneath. back stitch, lock it in, and now you have and when I turn it inside out, this little sock or this pillowcase, now I have a nice clean seam. Now here I have a little bit of thread that came through. And then up here, because I had a very wonky edge, you can see the fabric that came through underneath. That's not what you want. You don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure that your seam on this side is big enough to incorporate all this fabric. But like I said, I didn't cut it and it was just kind of crazy wonky. So you want to make sure that you clean up your edge. That's a great example of cleaning up your edge. But now you can see, so that aside, now you can see how that works. And then on the inside is a nice, clean seam. So that won't fray. So there you go. That's how you make a French seam. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll try to have a new video up pretty soon. And go ahead and practice on some scrap fabric on how to make a French seam. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back soon. Have a good day. Bye.